So today I'm going to bust some myths about some of you guys feel like you can't draw. If you can make letters, if you can make numbers, if you can do any kind of simple arithmetic, math, or writing or anything, then you can draw. It uses the same parts of your brain, and if you want to read about that, there's a book called Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. It talks about it. There's a lot of books about it, but that's a really good book. But anyway, so what you want to choose first is your step-by-step drawing sheet. And on this sheet, it gives you information about the animal, if you're interested. More importantly, it talks about the shapes that you're going to be using. So what's this shape right here? A circle. You could also think of it as an O or a 0 or a cookie. So you have to kind of break things down into simple shapes that you understand. That's probably the most important part about drawing and understanding what you're looking at. And instead of going from blank page to something like this, where there's an automatic tiger that shows up, there are steps that you can do that actually walk you through how to draw a tiger. Obviously, we're not going to bring a tiger into the art room because of various safety reasons. So while I would like that a lot, it's not going to happen. So it even talks about start with these simple 3 shapes. Pay attention to their sizes and space between them. So we're talking about proportion in this. We're talking about space also, which we just did in your bell ringer. So you've got space between these 2, oval and the circle. You've got no space between these 2. They butt up against each other. They don't overlap. They come up against each other. To fill in a space, we're going to add lines that close a gap. Okay? And that's going to make the body. So when you first start your drawing, you're going to start with, I like to start in the center of the page, and sometimes that's hard to find. So the cool thing about this project is if your animal's off to the side, then you can put your hand signature here, like I showed you before. So like I showed you in the examples. So I'm going to start by drawing lightly, because if I don't like where I placed my objects, if I don't like the space between them, then I can erase them. It's pretty easy. So I've got my first, I've got my second, and I've got my circle. And this is going to go pretty quick. It might not look as nice as yours looks because I'm going to rush through things. I just realized that my oval needs to be a little bit wider. And this is going to be the back, the hind legs of the tiger. So I erased a little bit. Okay? They're not quite in line. It should be actually up even farther. You don't have to be this picky with yours. Just make sure you get it in the general area, in the general size. So step 2 says to connect them using a line. And that line is going to be the body for the tiger. And this line is going to be the leg of the tiger, one of the front legs, because this tiger is running. Okay? The tail that comes out the back just starts out as a line. I'm not saying get this all correct the first time. What I am saying is pay attention to what you're doing and read the instructions. Step-by-step instruction reading is so important for you guys to understand. I could have made the head a little bit bigger. Come down here, just like in the directions, this is going to form the other part of the leg. Come up here, make this little dash. Come down here, make the little muzzle. How do I know how to do this? Well, as I do this, I'm reading the instructions on the sheet. Add this shape for the tiger's snout. And I know that a snout is a nose and mouth. The front leg is strong and powerful at the shoulder. Well, strong and powerful means it's going to be thick. Okay, so we want to make sure we make it look thick, which is represented by the center circle. Start to draw in the rear legs. Now, I'm also going to make some associations on this. I'm also going to see that this leg looks like an upside down bird, like the kind of birds you draw in a landscape. Okay, I'm also going to say, ooh, it looks like a 7 or an L. The reason you make these lines so light at first, anybody know why you make your lines light? Right, if you make a mistake, you can erase it. You probably get tired of hearing me say that. So I'm going to flip ahead and move ahead. First show you, I've got this centered on the page pretty well. I mean, I'm going to add other lines and things with it. But then the next part that I want to do is I'm just going to skip ahead and I'm going to go kind of toward the end. I'm going to draw the face in and show you how to erase the lines. So I'm going to come in here, make an ear. You'll notice I'm starting to draw a little bit darker now, hoping you can see this. gonna make the tiger eye. I'm gonna make the mouth. I'm gonna leave all the decorations up to you. I may have made that too long, so I'm gonna go back in. I'm gonna erase. Make the snout or the muzzle in like that. And this is gonna be the outline anyway, so I can come in here. Outline, make the nose. Come in here, make the lips, make it dip in a little bit. Just like it says on the directions. And then outline. This is the detail. This is where you add detail to your animal. And this kind of makes it look like it has a soul. You can add like little light details. Don't need to shade anything in today because the next time you come in, we'll be using oil pastel to color these in realistic color. So ask yourself this too. Is this abstract? Or would we call this a little bit more realistic? Good, realistic. That's what I would call it too. So we've got the lion popping out here. The head's a little small in proportion. It could be a little larger, but you get the main idea. So there's no shading today. There's just basic drawing, getting these shapes in. Then you come back in and you erase your guidelines. That's all they are, guys, are just guidelines. You'll put the details and all the fur and stuff like that in with your oil pastel next time. So thank you for your time, and I hope you understand to use light lines. You're working with organic shapes, so you don't need any rulers or anything like that. And you're creating an animal, and everybody can draw. It's simple. Just make associations, make connections with what you're drawing and the shapes that they start out with.